Rose, Kenneth John Cheesebro, Jeffrey Bossert Clark, Jenna Lynn Ellis, Ray Stalling Smith III, Robert David Cheeley, Michael A. Roman, David James Schaefer, Sean Micah Thresher Still, Stephen Cliffgard Lee, Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Trevion Cootie, Sydney Catherine Powell, Kathleen Alston Latham, Scott Graham Hall, Misty Hampton, aka Emily Misty Hayes. It is a 40-count felony indictment.
Yeah, and
out
Rachel,
of Fulton County, Georgia.
Should we touch on just some of the crimes listed?
Yes.
It begins with the RICO Act.
Please.
That's the big one, and it is broad in the state of Georgia. So you have an alleged violation of the Georgia Racketeer Influencing Corrupt Practices Act. You have something we just discussed moments ago, solicitation of violation of oath of office. That is, we believe, connected to Donald Trump's personal involvement in recorded calls to state officials. We have several false statement charges that echo something we've seen in other cases, and we've seen a lot of evidence for that here coming out of Georgia. We have solicitation of violation of oath of a public officer. Again, those are the kind of state crimes that regard state officials. So this is related to Trump's wider efforts to overthrow a federal election. But the theory of the case here is a state crime committed. I see impersonating a public officer. That's interesting. I want to learn more about that. And a conspiracy to the same effect. I see forgery and a conspiracy related to forgery, filing false documents, forgery in the first degree. So a lot of lying. Those are basically laws about lying, state laws about lying. A criminal attempt to commit influencing of witnesses. Something we've seen Donald Trump come very close to in other investigations, but this is now a state indictment on that count. False statements and writings. I'll tell you, Rachel, as well, this is a lot of charges.
Yeah.
This
so
is
let me just say, I said
charges.
this was a 40-count felony indictment. It is a 41-count felony indictment. Again, there are a number of defendants here charged alongside Donald Trump, but his name is first on the indictment. Now, correct me, you're reading along with me.
I am.
You're all reading along with me. We're all reading off a very tiny print while we're doing this. But let's just talk specifically about the counts facing Donald Trump, the former president of the United States. Count 1. Violation of the Georgia RICO Act. Count 5, again, these are the charges that Trump is facing. Solicitation of violation of oath by public officer. Count 9, conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. Number 11, count 11, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. Count 13, conspiracy to commit false statements and writings. Count 15, conspiracy to commit filing false documents. Count 17, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. Again, these are all charges that Trump is facing. Charge 19, conspiracy to commit false statements and writings. 27 through 29. That would be filing false documents, solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, and false statements and writings. He's also facing counts 38 and 39. Those are solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, and again, false statements and writings.
And Rachel, we're looking at 90-plus pages in terms of all of it, so we're going to make our way through it. But I see Ruby Friedman cited here. We were just discussing that. I see a charge relating to some members of the alleged RICO conspiracy trying to corruptly influence the vice president of the United States. It's very broad.
When it starts with the enterprise, at all times relevant to this court count of the indictment, the defendants, and it lists Trump and all 19, and it describes them as carrying out related criminal activities, including but not limited to false statements and writings, impersonating a public officer, forgery, filing false documents, influencing witnesses, computer theft, computer trespass, something we've talked about in recent days, computer invasion of privacy, conspiracy to defraud the state, acts involving theft and perjury, and it talks about a criminal organization that constituted an enterprise. It's a question that's loomed over all of this, whether she would use the state's strong RICO laws to prosecute the crimes.
That's actually, I think, the most important part of it is that after they list all these names, they constituted a criminal organization.
Right?
The President of the United States, his lawyer, his other lawyer, his chief of staff, I mean, Justice Department officials, other lawyers, a group of people constituted a criminal organization. I mean, that
Harrowing.
full stop, that this is a moment in American history
There
that
had
the
been
president of the United States is effectively being called in an official court document the head of a criminal enterprise.
There had been a lot of speculation about the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, who had not been previously indicted. And there was a lot of drama about his testimony to various investigatory bodies and grand juries. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, Mark Meadows isn't getting charged anywhere because Mark Meadows is cooperating against the president. Mark Meadows is charged here, as are a number of Trump lawyers. We saw Trump lawyers named, or not named, but indicated as unindicted co-conspirators in the federal indictment, the most recent federal indictment about trying to overturn the election results. Questions as to them not being charged, but named as co-conspirators. Here they are charged. Giuliani charged. Eastman charged. Chesebro charged. Bossert Clark charged. Ellis charged.
Sidney
Sidney Powell charged.
Rachel, can I say something? Our friend Andrew Weissman is bursting. Can we bring him in?
Andrew Weissman, we are reading. No, we cannot bring you in yet. We will in just a moment. If he bursts, I promise I'll help you clean it up.
I had a direct sight line to the burst.
I think for some reason we literally could not show him in just a
because we don't have a
moment.
camera there. Okay, sorry.
As we are looking at this, I mean, the other names that we are looking at here, a lot of the names here. Thank you. This is it. I'm going crazy for. A lot of the names that may not be familiar at the national level are Georgia state officials, former Georgia officials, and some Trump campaign officials who are lower profile individuals. The name Trevian Kuti sticks out to me because that, of course, is the woman I was describing moments ago who somehow persuaded Ruby Freeman to meet with her at a police station in Georgia, where she pressured Ruby Freeman that she must confess to voter fraud, trying to talk her into it as if she was a friend when she clearly was not. We now have the indictment. It is a 41-count indictment. There are 19 defendants listed. Former President Donald Trump is one of them. The first charge listed, count one on this 41-count indictment, is the violation of the Georgia RICO Act, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, which is a resonant thing, but also a specific thing, and also a thing with a minimum 5-year prison term associated with it. Looks like the defendants charged under the RICO Act specifically are all of them, all 19 of them charged as being part of that criminal organization. As we await comments from Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, let us go to our nearly burst friend, Andrew Weissman. Andrew, I think we can go to you now to get your first reaction to what you're seeing in this indictment.
Well, it does look like what we have is one indictment, not 9 others to come, although we don't know for sure, but it looks like it's one huge indictment. But I think the main thing that if you are Donald Trump and his legal team right now, you have a cooperation problem. And this really goes to a point, Rachel, you were making, which is there's so many people now who are charged who cannot be federally pardoned. They're facing state charges. There is no ability to federally pardon them. It is going to be so necessary for Donald Trump to throw sand in the gears here, whether it's trying to remove Fani Willis, whether it's trying to remove the case to federal court, whether it's claiming presidential immunity. The reason I think he's going to need to do that, even if it comes at the risk of seeming like he's firing Jim Comey again because he's trying to fire Fani Willis, is he needs to keep these people in line. Because they are facing criminal charges that they cannot be pardoned for, even if he wins the presidency. And there are this slew of people, and these are so many of the names that we understood were unindicted co-conspirators in the federal case that are now facing state charges.
I'm not sure how much longer I can stay on. It's been a really long day, and I'm totally wiped. Plus, I can't actually use my hand right now. This is his, you are tired, you are done for the day. And he's usually right. He can usually sense when I'm done and I'm pushing too far. So, but I definitely did want to pop back on so I could share this with you because that is insane. It's huge. And tomorrow I'll be on Lori, The Way of Positive Change, starting at 11 Central, 12 Eastern. I'll be there for an hour, and then she's going to come over on my live stream, my normal live stream at noon Chicago. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, it's a good day. All right, so we'll have time to go through this and parse, and oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Thank you, everybody. Rest well. Yeah, please rest well. And we'll talk. Oh, there's going to be so much to talk about. All right, so take care, and I will see you all tomorrow.